In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to round numbers in Excel. Rounding numbers helps you control how many decimal places you display, and it also makes results easier to read and compare. In this quick walkthrough, you will see a few different rounding styles, including standard rounding, rounding up, and rounding down. First, you will type a raw number into cell A1. This is the starting point that will stay as your original value. For example, you can enter a number that includes several decimals, so you can clearly see what changes after rounding. Next, you will type standard round into cell B1. This label is just to make it obvious what formula you are using in that column. It helps you keep track, especially when you are comparing different rounding methods side by side. Then you will type roundup into cell C1. Like the previous label, this is there for clarity. When you look at the spreadsheet later, you will instantly know that this column is using a rounding up function. After that, you will type round down into cell D1. This will clearly identify the last column as the one that rounds toward negative infinity, or in simple terms, always goes down when adjusting decimals. Now that the headers are set up, you will fill rows A2 to A5 with example numbers like 12.345, 56.789, 4.152, and 8.999. As you enter these, pay attention to the decimal places, because the formulas will either keep or adjust those decimals based on the rounding rules. This set gives you a good mix of values where the decimals will round differently. Once the raw numbers are in place, you will create the standard rounding formula. In cell B2, you will type the code =round A22. This formula rounds the value in A2 to 2 decimal places. Standard rounding means that Excel looks at the next digit after the 2 decimal places, and it rounds up or down based on whether that digit is 5 or greater. At this point, you are building a reference between your original number and the rounded result. Next, you will move to cell C2 and type the code =roundup A22. This time, Excel also rounds to 2 decimal places, but the behavior is different. It always rounds up. So even if the next digit is small, it will still move the number upward at the decimal place boundary. Now you will set up the rounding down behavior. In cell D2, you will type the code =rounddown A22. This formula rounds the value in A2 to 2 decimal places as well, but it always rounds down. That means it will reduce the number or keep it from increasing when the decimal adjustment happens. After entering the formulas, you will see the results only once you confirm the entries. Press Enter on your keyboard to instantly see the calculated rounding effects. You should notice that the values in columns B, C, and D differ in a predictable way based on each rounding method. To finish the comparison, make sure you apply the formulas down to the remaining rows if your spreadsheet view does not do it automatically. Because you filled A2 through A5 with example numbers, you want the rounding results to correspond to each one. As you do this, keep an eye on how Excel treats the 2 decimal place target. For instance, a value like 12.345 will behave differently across round, round up, and round down, depending on the digit right after the second decimal place. When you are done, you will have a clean side-by-side comparison that shows how standard rounding, rounding up, and rounding down each produce different outputs from the same raw numbers. And that covers everything you need to know.